Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. In this video, we go through all of the latest leaked ENQUIRIES patch notes. As always, huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. If you do enjoy my videos and find them useful, and would like to support the channel from as little as $1 a month, plus getting your referral codes in my videos, it is all very much appreciated. Follow the links in the description below. So a big thank you to the Star Citizen Leaks Discord for gathering all of these leaks. If you do want to keep up with them as they happen, be sure to follow the link in the description to the Star Citizen Leaks Discord channel. So Alpha 3.9.0M was released to the ENQUIRIES. This patch probably contains the most bug fixes I have ever seen in any patch. We will go through them in a second, but first of all, let's just go through any new updates. Bior is still asking EVO members to PM him with any videos showing the desync in action, and the testing focus still remains the same. But for locations, Area 18 now has purchasable food on some of the food carts, which will be cool. They've also placed arrays around planets and moons to reduce their monitoring radius, so do be careful as safe space seems to be decreasing. This will obviously aid pirates a little in what they try to do. AI NPCs such as mission givers and shopkeepers should now correctly sit and interact with their usables. This is obviously good news, but I'm hoping this applies to all AI around landing zones because they all still stand on chairs. The refinery kiosks at each location now uses the generic refinery UI, and trade kiosks at Port Olisar uses the Port Olisar branded UI. For gameplay, they've added a warning pop-up message for entering the PU alone when in a party. All PU purchasables are now available to the REC rental store. I think this will just apply to weapons and components. I can't imagine it'll apply to food, doesn't make any sense. They've also added a pad ramming fine, which is excellent news. All members and contacts on the comlink tab in the Mobiglass should now be properly differentiated from AI. Mining consumables are no longer restored after an insurance claim, which makes sense. They have added cargo jettison option to the mining personal inner thought menu. This means that you'll be able to use the radial menu to quickly jettison your cargo rather than having to find the button in your cockpit. It should still allow you to have an option to bind the key, I would think, but this just makes it a bit more accessible. Player status info will now be shown when the personal inner thought menu is active. This is good so that you know what you need to eat and drink while checking the supplies that you have available. It makes sense. They've done some polishing for prop and eating sound effects. They've significantly reduced the time it takes to hack away individual infractions, which I think is good actually, because I think they still have the same amount of time as you would when you removed all of your infractions in one go. So itemizing them should have a reduced time to each one, but overall it should take about the same time to reduce every single one straight after one another. And finally, killing security will no longer double up crimes for assaults or murder. For weapons, they've done a sound effects polish on the Taveran ship weapons. For ships themselves, they've updated the Prowler cockpit seat to have access to the remote turret, which is excellent news. Glad that that's working. They've also adjusted the brightness of the cargo warning lights for the Prospector and Mole. So obviously you would want to know immediately if the cargo was going to kill you or not. And finally, for ships, they've updated thruster overheat audio. So on to the bug fixes. There is a massive list. As usual, I'll only really highlight the bug fixes from previous builds rather than telling you all the bug fixes from the current 3.9 build, because with it being an ENQUIRIES, you technically don't really know or will ever see what those bugs are. Anyway, they've fixed the transport service beacons. You no longer clip through the roof of the Mantis, Terrapin, Starfarer or 350R when getting out of bed, and you should no longer clip through the ship of the 600I or the top bunks of the Reclaimer. So I'm very happy to see so many bed fixes coming in. Being able to log in and out wherever you want in your ship's bed is quite important, I think. So anything that can resolve any potential issues is of major importance. Blue boxes should no longer appear in front of the Hurricane's pilot window. You should now be able to change the Prowler's turret. Inner thought text for the Cutlass Red weapons rack should now show up correctly. The Misk Reliance visual holes from above are now fixed. For the Carax cargo pods, players should no longer fall through the floor at the elevators. This is good because I noticed this while doing my video on it. For the Aurora ships, blue dot reflections should no longer appear on the cockpit glass. They have fixed the blue texture appearing on the M50's landing wheels, which was a bit weird. I saw that in the leaks images. They've fixed an issue causing extra static terrain to appear at Lorville and New Babbage. The customized character changes should now persist correctly in the PU, and the button should no longer become unresponsive. The Retaliator's missile racks should now properly clean up after being destroyed. I bet they noticed that issue thanks to the Idris mission. Players should now be able to purchase food through the Mobiglass. A ship should no longer snap onto another ship's physics grids while moving in and out of sync and allowing access to the cargo. That's a very weird one, I've not heard of that before. Her L4 should now allow you to repair, refuel and rearm. They've fixed an issue stopping players from accepting or denying a friend request after pressing F11. Players should now be able to interact with the Aurora's bed. They've fixed a VoIP issue where proximity and primary channels can be heard globally after entering another primary channel. I really hope that with this new friends list unification and the party updates, that VoIP works a lot better as well. I hate having to use Discord, it just breaks that immersion for me, so hopefully it all works well for 3.9. They've also fixed an issue preventing ringer or direct call audio playing. The glaive should no longer spawn clipping through the pad. Ruto should now correctly react to players and have dialogue. I think he's been kind of offline for a long while, so those missions should now be working correctly. Ships should now correctly be impounded when ramming another ship on the landing pad. Now that is great news, so not only does it fine you for ramming people, but it will impound your ship, no longer giving you access to it unless you pay the fine, which is great news. The Valkyrie Liberator variant should now be able to hold cargo. Any owners will be obviously rejoicing. The harvested inventory should now display correctly in your personal inventory. On the Avenger, they have fixed the floating geometry on the exterior. I don't think I've noticed that. FOIP should work correctly when viewing your character through the selfie camera. They've fixed multiple ship weapons missing firing and impact effects. They fixed an issue that was causing players to be unable to stow harvestables while inspecting them. I really hope that this means as well that anything that you hand mine is more responsive and smooth when picking it up and not going through that constant annoyance of having to inspect it and then stow it and then stow it and then inspect it. I hope it just clears all those issues up. They fixed missing audio ambience at Lorville's central business district. Levski's commodity kiosk should now populate ships correctly. Players should no longer see the withdrawal of every mission element when the call to arms mission is withdrawn. There should no longer be a gap between the detection of a ping blob and the mineable resource marker. Manned turrets should no longer appear out of sync and not move to other players. That should obviously help with coordinating your turret gunners and making sure that every arc or firing arc is covered. Missiles should no longer fire and then appear stationary before teleporting to the target, and players should no longer be able to set quantum travel direct routes or skip in between jumps. 6 client crash fixes and 6 server crash fixes also. But that was a hell of a lot of bug fixes. That is the latest Evo patch out the door. I really hope it's a Wave 1 candidate. I'd love to get 3.9 for the weekend, but who knows with this desync. Hopefully we'll hear more about it maybe on tonight's Star Citizen Live, but I do want to say thank you to CIG for all the hard work they are putting into resolving many of these long-standing bugs and continuing to work on 3.9. I just sincerely hope that it is considerably more stable than 3.8.2. So if you do want to keep up to date with all the latest leaks as they happen, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Plus, I will be covering the 3.9 build extensively as soon as it drops to Wave 1. Also, come and join me over on Twitch, where we will take a deeper look at all that 3.9 has to offer. We are still having a lot of fun over there, chatting 3.9 and beyond while we are all waiting for it. Anyway, massive thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.